if you and I were racing in Mario Kart, I'm going to be more aggressive because if I crash into the wall, it doesn't matter. If you and I are racing drones, I'm going to be slightly less aggressive because if I crash into the wall, I have to go fix my drone. So I feel like it's eSports with just the right amount of consequence to cause participants to really ride a very interesting strategic and psychological edge.
You're listening to the Drone Radio Show podcast, the show about drones and the people who use them for business, fun, and research. Hosted by Randy Goers.
Hello, everyone. This is Randy Goers, and welcome to the Drone Radio Show podcast, episode 120. What can we look forward to in the world of first-person view racing? To answer that question, we go straight to the top. Allan Evans is CEO of Fat Shark, the world's leading first-person view company for drone racing. If you're a first-person view drone pilot, chances are you're wearing a Fat Shark headset. In fact, the company boasts that 85% of the professional pilots choose Fat Shark FPV headsets. Allan is here to talk about Fat Shark, what's in store for the company, and what users can look forward to as drone racing and drone sports progresses to the next level. As you know, Interdrone 2017 will be held in Las Vegas from September 6th through the 8th. This is the largest fully dedicated commercial drone event of the year, so make plans to attend now. Allan will be speaking at this event, and he'll tell us about that later in this interview. Go to interdrone.com for details and to register for this exciting event. Now let's learn more about the FPV industry with Allan Evans of Fat Shark. Let's pick up the interview where I asked Allan to introduce himself.
My name's Allan Evans. I'm the CEO of Fat Shark.
Allan, tell us about Fat Shark and how it got started.
Yeah, Fat Shark is a technology company that primarily builds headsets for first-person view drone racing. It got started about 10 years ago by Greg French because he wanted to have that experience in fixed wing, and it has continued to grow from there as people really take up first-person view flying and have that pilot experience and just have a really good time with it. The recent growth of quadcopters, or drones as people typically call them, has caused bigger racing take up and more and more people to get into this sport.
Would you say that Fat Shark is the dominant maker of FPV headsets right now?
Yes, Fat Shark makes almost all of the high-end headsets that pilots wear.
And how did you get involved with Fat Shark?
I've known Greg, the owner, for a long time. I was previously the founder of a company called Avegant, which built VR/AR head-mounted displays and is still ongoing. I left day-to-day there for a while, and Greg reached out to me and said, hey, do you want to come race drones? And we had a conversation, and I came on board. I'm very excited about it.
As I understand it, you started as a consultant and then transitioned into the role of CEO. Is that how it went?
Yeah, when I left day-to-day at Avegant, I was spending some time trying to figure out what was the right next step for both my wife and I. And after doing a little bit of work with Greg and with the team, I just got really excited about it, and I think it was a great fit. So that's when I decided to join full-time.
What was it about Fat Shark that locked you into making that commitment?
Several things. First, great ownership. Greg is awesome, really cares about the customer, and he is really passionate about building great products for racers. That was extremely exciting to me. The community, if you look, everybody who does drone racing, they solder, they build things, they get together, and I think being part of and working with that community is really a part of it. And the last thing for me was fun. The truth is, the linchpin was I was sitting in a brew pub in San Francisco, and they did Tuesday night flights with micro drones. And so we all had headsets on, and you're flying around the brew stack, almost like you're Gulliver's Travels in a little airplane, you know, hitting gates and stuff with this first person view. And then you land and you take a sip of your pint and you sit there and you're like, yeah, all right, there's something magical here. And everybody that's part of this company before I think they represent great stewards of that kind of magical fun.
That does sound like a lot of fun. Now, you joined as a CEO fairly recently.
Yes, late June, early July.
And once you took the helm, what were some of the opportunities that you wanted to focus in on?
I think the real thing, and this isn't just me, it's everybody in the company, we were trying to consider what else to do beside continuing to do premium headsets, which is obviously our number one focus. And we see the opportunity to get more people involved in sport drones. Right now, you sort of have recreational drones like DJI and the Spark, and they're doing an amazing job. And then you have high-end racers, but there's not kind of the Sunday sports car in the marketplace yet. And we really want to help do that to get more people interested in drones, interested in learning how to solder, and just flying for fun.
Would a person need to build these drones, or are they off-the-shelf models for those that want to fly but don't really want to build?
If you're racing a drone, you're going to crash it. So whether or not you want to take it out of the box and fly it or build it, you're going to end up having to do some part of building it pretty quickly. So we're pretty open-minded there, and we're exploring different things.
Okay. And the goal is to make it easy for people to enter drone racing and share in that experience.
Yeah, and racing to me implies multiple people. These things are just fun to pick up and go fly through gates. So I would say, just like driving a sports car on the weekend is a good time. We just want to make it a lot more approachable. These are much less stable than sort of the flying camera drones. And so teaching people the skill set necessary to feel confident doing things like flips or hitting gates, and then also to feel confident pushing the edge, because if you crash, you can change your props. That is really what we're interested in bringing to a whole new group of people.
So is Fat Shark going to manufacture drone kits for people to buy?
We're still considering how to do that exactly. We're looking at different partnerships. We're looking at different possibilities to see what the best way there is for us to enable that. So we're not fully locked into one solution just yet.
We know that Fat Shark makes high-quality headsets, but do you also get involved with how it's streamed, either analog or HD digital?
We typically work with other providers. We try to specialize. So a company we do a lot of work with is Immersion RC. They do a really good job of analog transmitters and receivers. They also have some of their own off-the-shelf racing drones, which are great. We are open and have discussions with companies like Amimon that do HD video links, and we're exploring how we would integrate those into a headset, the receivers, et cetera. So we're definitely not trying to do all the research ourselves. A lot of the technologies from other industries, possibly VR or AR, which also have the latency video quality challenges, could be tailored then to our specific industry to realize things that are perfectly suited to FPV flight.
Can your headsets accommodate an HD feed now if it was available, or would they still need some development work?
The headsets right now are designed for analog, but that is because the bottleneck is good digital communications that are small. We are already doing work on headsets that will be able to accommodate those signals once they're available.
There are a lot of comparisons between drone sports and eSports. What's your opinion?
I think that's a pretty fair comparison in a lot of ways. I think it's even cooler than that. So eSports operate inside just a video game engine. This is eSports with the slight unpredictability of nature. And it also is eSports with penalty for failure. So if you and I were racing in Mario Kart, I'm going to be more aggressive because if I crash into the wall, it doesn't matter. If you and I are racing drones, I'm going to be slightly less aggressive because if I crash into the wall, I have to go fix my drone. So I feel like it's eSports with just the right amount of consequence to cause participants to really ride a very interesting strategic and psychological edge.
That does sound pretty cool. Now, personally, I'm a terrible drone racer myself. I have a small drone that I fly indoors, but I still have trouble getting it off the ground before I tip over.
Flying sport drones is hard. And what we're trying to do next is make it so you could take your small drone and help you get it off the ground and fly it and have fun. And it's those basic skill sets. It's like learning anything, like the guitar, right? It takes you a month till you feel okay playing one pretty easy song, but then you feel good about it.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And that's where the micro drones, like the ones from the bar you talked about earlier, where they can introduce the sport of flying without having to master a lot of skills.
Absolutely. It's how I really gravitated toward it. Micro drones aren't scary. You know, we were flying these around in the bar and nobody flinched. They're not worried about it. You don't run into all the regulatory elements. You don't have the, are you spying on me? You don't need a giant space. And they're just less expensive. So I really feel like there's going to be a large uptake in recreational flying with these smaller drones initially as a gateway to the bigger drones.
Are those micro drones readily available today?
I think the first generation is readily available. They definitely are out there and they're great. The challenge is that they're very tiny. And so how do you get stability? How do you get performance? How do you get everything you would want in a drone into that package in a way where it is just dialed in? So it might be another year till those offerings really become, I'd say, more complete and more beginner centric.
Yeah, I think for many, it would be great to have it automatically get off the ground and hover a little, just enough to give you a fighting chance to gain some control over it.
Yeah, exactly. Or, you know, run you through how to get it up and have it move forward. And I definitely agree. I think the first 10 hours of flying a sport drone are really frustrating for me. And we're really frustrating. I'm not a great pilot, but you get it up and you crash it and you walk over and you have to solder it. And now the nice thing for the little guy, you crash it in your house, it's 5 feet away. If you take a 250 class and get it up there and have it go careening off, you know, you're talking about a 300-gram drone smashes into a window or something 200 feet away. It's a much bigger penalty for somebody going through those learning curves.
Switching gears a little, can you talk about how the company works with its customers to develop a really great user experience?
So a lot of our team is very active on forums. We engage pilots of different skill levels to find out what they think about new products before we release them. We also very much care about all of our customers. And so if there's ever a problem with any headset that you have, we have repair centers that you send it into and we service them. We know people are enjoying FPV flight and we really appreciate everyone who does that. And we want to be sure that we maintain that level of customer responsiveness and customer service.
We know that Fat Shark makes high quality headsets for drone racing, but do the headsets have applications in other areas?
So first person view is really interesting for a lot of different applications for drones. So I see potential future where maybe you have a mostly autonomous drone, but you want to have somebody have a first-person view or a pilot experience if there is the need for reaction or for human intervention. I think there are elements around the radio communications that become important in terms of maybe better video quality. You know, can you move to a seamless HD video link? How do you integrate command and control so that it works in the next iteration? There's just several places where, I mean, the reason why you wear a headset right now is because it's portable and it gives you that 40-degree field of view without having to haul around a 60-inch TV. And I expect there are going to be different field operations aside from just racing as the drone market evolves that are going to surprise us by utilizing headsets, and we want to be responsive to those customers.
Have you taken any steps in that direction?
We're at the point where we're just starting to explore those other types of uses, and I believe that the drone industry at large is just starting to look at what comes after flying camera. And so I think we're in a good position to have some of the technology to work with some of those partners that are interested in pilot programs.
Now, you're going to be speaking at Interdrone in September on new technology and FPV headsets. What can we expect in that session?
I was going to start with what FPV is, talk about where we see FPV and sport drones sort of going over the next 5 years or so. Right now, it's analog video. You see breakup. 5 years from now, I think you're going to see hybrid gamification. We talked about gaming a little bit earlier, but I think you'll have these physical drones flying, and you'll have things like virtual AR gates that everybody goes through. So I think you'll see e-gaming meet this real-world drone racing sport in a really neat hybrid way that will all be incorporated into your headset.
So would that allow people in different locations to compete on the same virtual course just by wearing the headset?
Yeah, I think that's one of a myriad of applications that'll come about in about 4 or 5 years from now. That'll just start to make things really neat. You know, physical, real world consequences with all of the best elements of computer games brought into it for different sorts of drone sports. So I really think it's going to be a ton of fun.
Who do you think would be most interested in attending that session?
I think you're going to see people who have a familiarity with drones, but maybe not with FPV. A lot of people who are involved in aerial photography, but want to know what the other adjacencies are. And then I think people interested in alternative controls or in where the sport may emerge could pick up pieces there.
Where do you think competitive drone sports is headed?
I think we're really early right now. So you would say it could go to eSports for how they sell out stadiums. It could go to something more like F1, where people really follow the racers and the personality of the racers, as well as follow the race. It could move somewhere like the NBA, where you see a whole bunch of leagues like the NCAA, AAU spawn below that for participation. I'm not exactly sure where it'll go, but it might be some combination of those over the next 5 to 10 years.
Other than flying drones around a bar, do you have any other personal drone stories that you'd like to share?
Obviously, flying around the stacks in the bar is a lot of fun. The other really fun thing is to go flying off the roof of our factory in China when we flight test stuff. I mean, to go fly over parts of Shenzhen and see it with that first-person view with new experimental things is always a really good time.
Is there anything about Fat Shark that we missed?
No, not really. I mean, I think we're obviously positioning to be part of the greater drone industry as we go forward with a focus on sport drones. So I appreciate it, and I appreciate your time.
Finally, Allan, what message would you like to leave people when it comes to drones?
I would say aerial photography is a camera, while FPV is your weekend sports car.
That's it for episode 120 of the Drone Radio Show. I hope you enjoyed hearing from Allan Evans of Fat Shark. I want to thank Allan for taking the time to speak with me. If you want to learn more about Fat Shark or want to connect with Allan, check out the website at fatshark.com. Remember, you can meet Allan at Interdrone on September 6th through the 8th. If you like the Drone Radio Show, please consider supporting the podcast with a small donation. The content is always free, but for as little as $1 per month, you can help defray the costs of production. To donate, go to patreon.com, Drone Radio Show. And thanks for listening. Your support means a lot to me, and I hope you'll listen to more episodes of the Drone Radio Show podcast to hear how others are using drones for business, fun, and research. For the Drone Radio Show, I'm Randy Goers.
This has been the Drone Radio Show podcast. More information on today's show can be found on our website at www.droneradioshow.com. If you're using drone technology for business, fun, or research and would like to share your experience on the show, please visit our website and fill out a guest appearance application. And don't forget to follow us on your favorite social media channels.